kind of like I said again, it could all be about the fit too. But I definitely think you want to have options whenever it comes to what you're wearing. But I always recommend denim. I always think it's good to have a good pair of khakis or a dress pant too, just to have some options through you're coming through your wardrobe.
I like that.
In terms of be going into the fall, I am a fan of a cardigan sweater.
Me too.
I
I
love a
have so
nice
many.
cardigan sweater, and there's different types of cardigan sweaters. So
Yep.
I like the idea of having maybe like more of a chunkier sweater that can be a little
Uh-huh.
oversized. I like the idea of having a thinner cardigan where it's just more of like a clean cut fit. Um, I really love the idea. Like I really like a crew neck sweater. Um, It's really some kind of fun design or like a cable knit sweater, I think
Hmm.
is timeless and it looks good and it can be dressed up or dressed down. And then you'll have your staples too, like you want a nice pair of boots. Whether they be like chukka boots or I've been getting into cowboy boots lately, which
Oh,
I know is a
nice.
little different for me, but it's also something else you can wear year round. I think the idea of coming up with a wardrobe, especially if you feel like you're not really like completely fashionable, is coming up with things that are sustainable all year round. Because
Right.
I mean, depending on where you live, some of this stuff's good 6 months out of the year.
Hmm.
So, I definitely see sweaters. I think people should have at least one or two scarves,
Oh, okay.
just to like dress something up. But if you're outside, neck gets cold. You got to protect the neck. And then I'm also a fan of a leather jacket. I think a leather jacket is
Ah,
something that I know some people might say yay or nay to it. I love a leather jacket. I love a pea coat too.
yeah.
I'm all over it when it comes to that in fall because you got to be prepared because I mean especially now you wake up in the morning it's like it's cold and then it gets warm by the end of the day. This time of the year is insane. So you gotta have a little bit of something something to go around. But yeah, and I think with your staples too, like black t-shirts are always great to have. And then, as if you're feeling more daring, definitely look into like a pattern. But I also do like a nice flannel for fall too. I think a nice flannel looks good with a black t-shirt on underneath. Um, especially for those fall days.
It's very true. Yeah, I mean, here in North Texas, we don't get too cold, but it does get chilly, like you just mentioned, in the mornings. Sometimes I'll put on a light cardigan, and then halfway through the day, I'll take it off, throw it in the back seat,
Right?
and I won't need it and get it until nighttime. So, and then cowboy boots, obviously from Texas. Not all of us have them. First off, but the ones who do, and once you've broken them in, they are the most comfortable things you'll ever wear. And you also, if you're not used to obviously having somewhat of a heel, it's going to be a little alarming at first. But again, once you get it broken in, it's the most comfortable thing you'll ever wear.
And just the way that it like for me, just the way that it feels like it boosts my posture while I'm
Yes.
walking and like I feel like I'm walking with a purpose whenever I'm in cowboy boots. Like I feel like, I'm I don't want to say main character vibes, but kind of because you're walking down the street and you're like and it's just how because it's how you have to walk in them. So I always say if you haven't had a cowboy boot before, like you really need to borrow someone's or look into getting your own because there's some out there that are very affordable,
It's
and
true.
there are quality. There can be quality in that. I mean, obviously, cowboy boots are one of the thing where there's different purposes for all of them, but
Mhm.
uh, yeah, I 100% agree with that.
But definitely make sure you have the right socks because if you have too short of
Cool.
socks, they will rub against your leg. And then obviously the jeans have to be a little longer too because you're already raised up with the boots. You have to have the boot cut, and that's what it's there for.
Need a boot cut. You can never go wrong with a boot cut jean. I mean,
True.
even if you're not wearing boots, you can't go wrong with a boot cut jean.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, you could just roll it up and you still look great.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, if people have never seen you wrestle before, what three matches would you tell them to go out of the way to watch?
Oh, jeez. Now, is this Calvin or is this the runway?
Well, I mean, you tell us.
Okay, perfect. All right. So if no one has ever seen the runway before, one of the matches I would recommend watching is Enjoy Wrestling's Immaculate,
Hmm.
where we wrestled Dirty Breeze.
That was recently too.
That was in June. Yes,
Yeah.
that was in June. And that was probably one of the, well, it was obviously the highest profile match we've ever done. But I think that was one of the matches that really challenged us to think a little bit outside of the box. Um, but it was also so easy to piece together at the same time. I mean, you're working with professionals, Breeze and Danko, they know what they're doing, but it was really nice because um, it really defined who we were as a tag team and
Mm.
what we want to put out there and present. A lot of what we did and what we presented and just the overall presentation of what we did is us. That is what we are. And granted, we aren't always able to do such a big presentation, but that is who we are as a tag team. And that is what we see ourselves in our heads. It doesn't matter if we're at a venue like we were with Enjoy, or if we're at a venue where there's 50 people in the crowd. That is who we are and what we want to present when we come out there. So that is probably my favorite match that we have ever had. Um, there is, I think of another match. Um, you stumped me on this one. There was a match, probably one of my favorite matches that I have personally ever had was versus the Reaper Matt Connard.
Okay.
He is I think I want to say he was based out of West Virginia, but he has done a lot in Pittsburgh and in West Virginia. And he was this match that I had with him was a qualifying match for a 6-person tag at the end of the year at Rise Wrestling, where it was everyone was in this match for the title. And he pushed me to my limit. I don't think I've ever been in a match where I was that pushed to my limit, where I had to go, 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 go. It really, I really felt like I proved to myself that I can be on another level with a high caliber talent such as himself. So that was another match that I would say check that out, because that was one where I felt like I did a little bit of everything and was able to stay true to who I am. The last match I would say, and this is going to be kind of general, any fashionista street fight that you can find that either includes myself or the runway.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why. So the fashionista street fight was one of my creations. And basically, in the fashionista street fight, you are only allowed to use weapons that are fashionable, glittery, gold, silver, like pink, purple. You can't just grab a random chair out of the crowd and use it, or you'll get disqualified.
I love it.
So the original one was versus Andrew Palace at Premier Championship Wrestling in Cleveland. But we've had a few. We had one at an Enjoy versus Gummy Boar, so that's available on YouTube. Um, there has to be some other ones that are out there too. Trying to think of what one. Definitely the Gummy Boar one sticks out to me as one of our favorites. Um, we also had a similar street fight with the Den of Desire at 880 Wrestling recently. It wasn't necessarily a fashionista street fight, but it was definitely a similar vibe of what we did. So yeah, I would definitely, if you can find a fashionista street fight out there, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how fun it is.
That's amazing. I love. I'm gonna go look those up right now.
Please do.
Yeah. Now, if people wanted to find out more about you, follow you online, see you live, buy your merch, how can they do all the things?
Yeah, of course. So my Instagram is Calvin Couture, one word. Post pretty much everything on there. I've been on a small hiatus on there a little bit, just because I wanted to recharge and kind of get my head straight. I also have a fan page on Facebook, and then I'm on X, or I can't believe I just called that X, X or Twitter. Calvin underscore Couture if you want to follow and check out some updates. We also have runway accounts out there too that we are always tagging. I'm always tagging in the posts. Um, but yeah, in terms of shows coming up, I know Enjoy Wrestling is going to be in October, and we may be in attendance for that. Um, but other than that, this is a good time for the runway. We're rebuilding, we're doing some new designs, and we're coming up with some new stuff so we can start 2025 with a bang.
Thank you so much again to Calvin for being on the show. Again, the fashionista of pro wrestling has so many fashion tips for us. And you know what, I may be a little harsh on you pro wrestling fans, but I think we need to step our fashion when it comes to coming to these shows and just dressing up and, you know, just general hygiene and so forth. So we'll have him back on the show. More fun stories, more fashion tips. Can't wait. Now, while you're following him on his journey through the world of pro wrestling, make sure to follow us on the social medias. It is Brewsers Pod. That is BREWSCRSPOD on the Instagram, the Threads, and the Twitter. If you want to send us an email, it is brewserspod@gmail.com. If you want to follow me directly, it is Rodie John. That is RODIEJON. Rodie John is the name on the Twitter and on Untapped. In case you want to find out what I'm drinking, maybe we can have a beer together. If you want to follow me on the Threads or the Instagram, it is official Rodie John. So until next time, make sure to enjoy life, drink local, and cheers.